So here we go. Welcome back to another edition of the League One Lowdown. And once again, I'm joined by good old Joel Shooter, podcast producer for shrimptrust.net. I've probably said that wrong, Joel, but it's a pleasure again. I spoke to you when we signed Greg Lee. Today is talking more about Morecambe ahead of the second season in League One. You guys stayed up. How you doing, my friend?
Really well, yeah. Looking forward to the season. It's been good getting back to a few pre-season friendlies. Got one more on Saturday, obviously, but then, yeah, back into it with the season, which really looking forward to. It's been it's been nice having a little break, but eager to get back now.
Indeed, my friend. Well, let's recap last season quickly, and your first ever season in League One, staying up, which is a great achievement. How would you look back at last season?
I mean, staying up is all that mattered, really. So really nice to do it because ultimately, obviously, it wouldn't take away from the achievement of getting there in the first place, but to be able to have some element of longevity about it is nice, So not that it wasn't just a flash in the pan and be able to keep trying to prove ourselves in this division, and other clubs have shown it can be done, Burton and Accrington, and there's no reason why we can't. So yeah, I think it was a topsy turvy one. Obviously, we started very well. I think we had a lot of kind of bounce probably from the promotion and a lot of good vibes. Obviously, Stockton running through half the Ipswich team on the first day. I think that set things up quite nicely. But then obviously things did take a bit of a downturn. I think a few underlying numbers crept up on us. January, new signings, turned it around a bit. I think we were playing better. Results not there yet. And then obviously Stephen Robinson leaves, which puts us in a very difficult position. Derek comes back. I think it took a while to get going under Derek. I think just trying to marry. I think maybe looking back, he was trying to kind of do a hybrid of what Robbo was doing with what he kind of wanted to tweak. But then when we had an international break, 2 weeks off, he just kind of went full what we saw the season before in League Two. Kind of that the kind of formation, the setup of the team kind of almost mimicked what he'd done before. So it was much more in his style, and we got 3 wins in 4 games, and that's basically what kept us up. So yeah, bit of a dramatic way to do it, bit topsy-turvy, but we got there in the end.
Indeed, and yeah, I'm looking forward to my trip to Morecambe. We'll get into that at the end of the video, where the trips and the head-to-heads and stuff. Let's talk about the current mood then. Some big news that dropped this week. Tyson Fury, the boxer, is sponsoring the club on the club short, so that's some great news. But what is the current mood overall in terms of going into the second season? Derek Adams' first full season in League One. What's it like at the moment?
I'd say an element of hesitant positivity. I think it's good to have Derek back. It's nice that he kind of gets to kind of carry on the job he started by getting us up in the first place. I think transfer window wise, I think, pardon me, sorry, there's probably not quite as much activity as we expected because obviously a lot of players got transfer listed and I think only one has gone, Jonah Young, and he was one of the better players to be honest from last season, but just stylistic differences and freeing up room in the budget really. So yeah, there's not been quite as much movement as we thought. At the same time, I think we're all quite happy with a good few of our incoming. So I'd say yeah, it's generally quite positive. And there's a lot of faith in Derek, obviously, understandably so, given the promotion, eventually helping us stay up. So yeah, I'd say it's hesitant positivity. There's a little bit of nervousness because of the whole transfer listing thing and maybe not quite as much movement as we thought there was going to be. But generally, I think the feeling's quite good.
That's good to hear. And let's talk more about transfers then, the ins and the outs. So, of course, the big one, Greg Lee, got released, and of course now at town, so he'll be facing Morecambe. Of course, check out the insight video I did with Joel if you haven't seen it already. Nice little cheeky plug there for Joel to add more views to that video. What has been the major ins then? And then we'll talk about outs later on.
Yeah, the major ins, I'd say Ash Hunter has probably been the most eye-catching one of late. Obviously, he was at Fleetwood and did well there in League One a few years ago. Then, obviously, it seems he had a bit of a disagreement with Jerry Barton, which is amazing. I can't believe anybody would have a disagreement with Jerry Barton. But so he's obviously been sold to Sol, gone to Salford, done all right. Obviously, scored 2 screamers against us actually, and won them the game a couple of years back. So yeah, so he's already in our heads as Morecambe fans, and we've got quite a positive impression of him. It sounds like Derek was is quite a big fan. He says he tried to sign him before at Bradford, I think. So yeah, I think we're feeling positive about that, and the creativity he brings, and the goals, and his dribbling ability and stuff like that. So that's really exciting to watch and important to the team. There's also Jake Taylor, who we bought for an undisclosed fee from Port Vale. I think that he seems like he was very much Derek's man. Again, he's one that Derek said he's tried to sign before. We've put out a little bit of a fee for him. Obviously, we don't know how much. I can't imagine it'd be stupidly high or anything, but I think it shows that there is some backing for Derek to get the guys he wants, and in that case, we have managed to do that with Jake Taylor. He looks a really good prospect in midfield in what he kind of brings on the ball, but he's also he'll get stuck in defensively as well from what I've seen in pre-season. So that's really good. Another one, Caleb Watts, from Southampton. He looks a really talented loan. There's some good things said about him from some scouts and kind of analysts I've seen online who've discussed him. And watching him, what's good about him is sometimes when you get loanees from people playing, kids playing in the academies under 23s, they come down and technically they're very good, but it's not necessarily just about physicality. It's about intensity and the speed of which things are done. And you have to look forwards and be positive in your play, and be ruthless, and go for things and be brave on the ball. And I think not everybody has that, but Caleb Watts looks like he's got that. He's got a bit of spice, a bit of zest about him. He's chucked himself into a few tackles as well, so that's nice. And then looking at the back, Farron Rawson looks a good signing. Ticks all the boxes for Derek. He's big, good in the air, kind of headache kick it type, which is exactly the kind of defender Derek wants. And he'd get the best out of them, defenders like that as well. So that should work very nicely. And I think Connor Ripley in net, he could be quite a good addition. Obviously, didn't get many games up at Preston, but a few years ago I think he was in the League One team of the season with Oldham. So a lot to go from there. So yeah, I think a lot of the signs we've brought in are really quite positive, and I think a lot of us are quite happy with them. It's just getting a couple more in, really. We could do with another centre back. We're a little bit light there. We could do with another quite strong option, really. We could do with a bit more midfield, because I think we've got a pretty good starting 11, but beyond that in midfield and at the back, we haven't got much cover. So I think we're going to need a bit more to kind of really help us get through the whole season, because we're a couple of injuries and suspensions away from being really quite weakened as a team. And ideally, we don't want to be in that position.
No, yeah, League One is a long, long season, 46 games. And of course, now there's the 5 substitutions, which is going to come in play for the maybe bigger clubs, but teams like Morecambe may not got the biggest squad. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things. We've got to talk about the elephant in the room. Cole Stockton is still at Morecambe. Of course, last season, what a season, and he's been linked to different clubs, all that. I know some town fans, Ipswich Town fans, were like, maybe let's give a punt for Cole Stockton, but that hasn't happened in the end. What's your thoughts on the Cole Stockton situation? He's still with you guys, and I'm sure you're hoping he's going to be there on the opening day as well.
Yeah, and to be honest, if he was out of contract, I can't imagine he'd still be here. As much as we understand, from what we understand, he does love the club, and he's very grateful for he's had his best years as a player at the club. At the same time, he's a footballer. He's got a finite career in football, and he wants to play at the best possible level, and obviously make a good bit of money from it as well, which is absolutely fine, completely what he should be doing, really. I think, but with the fact that he's in contract, and we will be demanding a big fee, because not only has he scored a lot of goals, he's actually really important to how we play, especially under Derek, and he was very important on the way that Robbo played. He very much is a kind of focal point of the attack play. He's good at linking play. He's good at taking the ball in difficult areas with his back to goal, bringing others into play, and then getting forwards into the box. And obviously, as I'm sure everybody's seen, he's got an eye for a spectacular goal. Quite a few last season, which to be honest, he's actually always had. He used to miss the easy ones, but now he started scoring the easy ones as well. So that's why he's scored so many now. But yeah, he's great player, really important for the way we play a lot of the time. So it would take quite a bid to get him away. At the same time, he is out of contract next summer, so I don't know if there'll be any budging on our valuation. Maybe towards the end of the window, some clubs might try their luck. Obviously, we've seen Colby Bishop go today for rumoured to be about 500,000 when it's rumoured that Peterborough are bidding in excess of 1 million last season for him. So, it is very much contract dependent. I think we're going to hold out for quite. I think if something's going to happen, I think it'll happen quite late, which isn't great because you want time to get a replacement. But yeah, we'll have to see.
That's one of those things when the opening day of the season, it'll be the 30th of July, and it's still going to be a month of the window to go. And yeah, it's a lot of deals sometimes like those sort of things can happen later in the window. You're like, oh no, we haven't got a replacement. But
It'll
yeah,
be
we shall
rancid.
see.
I'm going to feel horrible and nervous for the whole
Yeah,
month.
yeah. I'm sorry that you're going to be in that place. But yeah, we'll wait and see on Cole Stockton. Well, let's talk about the thoughts going into this season in Joel. Second season in League One. I wouldn't even put you down as relegation favourites. I think you're going to be fine. On Derek Adams, some of the signs you made, I'm being positive for you guys. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we'd like to think that lower mid table is a kind of good to get maybe a little bit higher, maybe right in the middle, maybe like might be quite a good achievable aim really, because there's a lot of clubs down there that I think could get dragged in, but it's really hard to say who will, to be honest. And there's some clubs like I'd say Cheltenham probably weakened by obviously Michael Duff going. So you've got a few unknowns. Like I think Fleetwood are interesting because I think they weren't too bad aside last year, despite where they were on the table, and they've made some good signings. At the same time, they've got an untried manager, so who knows how that's going to go. Burton Albion, their fans seem to think that they might be slipping down a bit. You've got the 4 promoted sides. So yeah, we're just going to have to see how it goes. I think we've got a bit more continuity than we had last year. This time last year, partly because the transfer list of players, not all of them, many of them haven't gone. So that's given us a bit of continuity, which is it has its advantages. And also, yeah, Derek being in for the last few weeks of the season, also having a couple of players from the previous spell, that just gives that extra little bit of continuity. And I think that's something I'd value quite highly after seeing how Cheltenham and Cambridge did last season. I don't think they had man for man better squads than us at all, but but it was kind of a continuation of the season before, really, and they were really solid sides who did really, really well because of that. So hopefully we can get a bit more of that kind of stuff with Derek having been there since February, and obviously the season before. So yeah, fingers crossed that we can fulfill your expectations and stay well clear of relegation.
Indeed, mate. Yeah, it's actually really hard to call at the moment who's going to win promotion, who's going to be in the playoffs, who's going to get relegated. It's going to be an open. Well, League One is always bonkers. We call it Championship 2.0 because it's just anything can happen. Any team can beat any team. It's just going to be interesting. Now, Joel, let's talk about the head-to-heads then. We travel back to Morecambe on the 8th of October, which is not going to be too cold, which is good. So at least we can enjoy a little bit of the. Hopefully, there's a bit of sunshine still in Morecambe at that point. And then, of course, you guys travel to Portland Road on the 7th of January. So early doors into 2023. 2 draws last season against Morecambe. Town fans and us alike probably weren't really happy about those results, but it is what it is. Fair play to you, Morecambe. What's your thoughts going into these 2 fixtures?
Yeah, I mean, looking back at the 2 games last season, they were 2 very significant times, really. The opening day of the season, which was it your first game in League One for a while, and then
Sadly not. It was like that was our 3rd year in a row.
Was it second year in a row? Bloody hell, I'm behind.
Yeah. That's fine.
Shocking, I'm embarrassed myself. Yeah, well, it was our first game in League One. Obviously, youth had a big summer though, and made a lot of signings. And obviously, as we saw, they didn't all quite gel, and there was a bit of it was a difficult first half of the season for Ipswich. For us, that was kind of a big that we kind of came out like a rocket. And obviously, we were kind of back to the wall, but there was a lot of in that game a little bit at times. I know Ipswich had a lot of possession, but there was a lot of spirit and a lot of good vibes, basically, from promotion. And the second one, I mean, that was again quite a weird time because it was our first game with Derek back. So we were all celebrating the fact that he was back. At the same time, he was coming in at a really weird time with kind of trying to marry a few different things. And to be honest, you battered us, and we were so lucky to get a draw. They made a good little halftime sub that managed to wrangle us a goal, but yeah, no, God knows how you weren't about 3 or 4 ahead by that point, to tell you the truth. So yeah, they've both come at weird times, kind of significant times in the games. I'd say that this season, I think I've probably got Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday pinned as who I'd go for the automatics, because I think you've got but both the teams have got a good combination of lots of very good players, lots of resources, and continuity from last season. Like, it was a bit tumultuous for Sheffield Wednesday. They obviously they went down, and there was all the financial stuff, and they were building bringing in a lot of players. Ipswich again, they brought in a lot. Paul Cook got rid of a lot of players, brought in a lot of players, and that didn't quite work out. Sheffield Wednesday took a little bit of a while to get going, but they got there in the end. But yeah, it looks like the signings that both clubs have made maybe been a little bit more targeted, especially Sheffield Wednesday, especially Ipswich, kind of with the way they've not just gone for big names like that, which seemed to be more of the tactic last season. This season, like people like Greg Lee, they weren't like he's a great player. I think he'll be a great signing for you, but they weren't the big sexy names coming down from the championship. Where he's not one of those. So yeah, that continuity, maybe a bit more street smarts in the league, and I think I can't really see past Sheffield Wednesday and Ipswich being the top two. So yeah, I think there'll be tough games against Ipswich, definitely. But like you say, that's the wall. We managed to get a draw. I think looking at the home fixture for us, obviously we're a bit lucky to get a draw. But yeah, I think we'll give it a go again, and hopefully we can keep stealing points from you.
Oh well, hopefully not, but we'll see. We shall see. Well, Joel, it's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to chat to you, my friend. Any other business? Any other things you want to mention before we wrap up?
No, all good. Yeah, just good luck for the season, apart from when you play us, obviously.
Of course, obviously, on my friend. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks, Joel, once again for joining me, and bring on this season in League One.